when the White Wolf fought a silver-tongued devil. His army of elves, at his hooves did they revel. They came after me with masterful deceit. They broke down my loot and they kicked in my teeth, while the devil's horns minced our tender meat. And so cried the Witcher, he can't be bleed. Toss a coin to your Witcher, oh Valley of Plenty, oh Valley of Plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your Witcher, oh Valley of Plenty. At the edge of the world, fight the mighty horde that bashes and breaks you and brings you the morn. He thrust every elf far back on the shelf, high up on the mountain from whence it came.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of The Witcher. It's Witcher Wednesday, and with tonight's episode titled 2x2, as long as no one has hands of blue, I think we'll be okay. We'll be all right. Before we go around and we say who we are and who we're going to be playing, I would like to thank our sponsor, Roll20. They're awesome. Check them out, roll20.net. They've got great character sheets for The Witcher. They're free. There's tons of games on there. Check them out. It's awesome. Also, unfortunately, we will not have Josh playing Eris tonight as his internet is just wonky, or at least that's his excuse. I'll believe it this time. So I guess I'll start with myself. I'm Lindy, and I'll be playing Yannicka, the elf healer, who's got a lot to do. She's got a very long to-do list and only so much time to do it in. So speaking of to-do lists, I feel like Ainfra's got a hit list. Prax, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm great. And Ainfra's had a hit list since the beginning of season 1. But we'll see what happens. But hey all, you know me. I'm at Digital on Twitter, Praxworth is Mia4. You see me around on Twitch. And today I get to be Ainfra, our mage who's going to try and help all these people who keep getting cursed. They're cursed all over the place.
Yeah, it's not our fault that we got cursed, right, Billy?
Oh, it's me now. I'm Billy. I'm Billy the Forest. Super excited to see what happens. There's lots of progress and lots of emotions the last episode. Yeah. So now that everything's still kind of raw, let's go into some stuff. Let's do some things. Let's try to get rid of some curses or stumble into 4 more curses. Who knows what's gonna happen? I'm stoked. So, let's see what's going on, because I'm a School of the Bear Witcher and I like setting people up for segues.
Well, speaking of setting people up for segues, we've got another School of the Bear Witcher here. That would be Matt, our guest. Hello, how are you?
Doing great, Lindy. Hi, Matt, the Killer GM. Playing Harald of Oxenford, a Witcher who just wanted to, get some elves out of Redania, and now is in this whole thing with Sinblings and the Wild Hunt and a whole bunch of mess. You know what? Screw it. We're just gonna go gather some materials and make some shit and hope it all works out in the end.
Yeah, like arts and crafts day. That'll make us feel better, right?
Yep. Everybody loves a bit of art therapy.
Yeah. Speaking of arts and crafts and people who like art therapy, JF, how are you?
Yeah, I'm here for the therapy. You got me right. It's JF at Double Crits. Every Wednesday is doing therapy here with my friends. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of restless spirits in this campaign, and I don't think that tonight will be any exception. Oh my god. And that's my segue to obviously to Greg.
or Billy's cat because look how cute.
That's floof.
Such floof. Okay, now to Greg. Hi, Greg.
Hey everybody, wanted to make sure you could hear me. Yeah, I'm Greg, I'm your GM for this evening as we play a little Witcher family of Wraiths. We will miss Eris, but as I explained to everyone earlier, Eris is taken to bed rest as is ordered by his healer, Yannicka. For those of you that have been with us from the beginning of the campaign, the injury that Eris sustained in one of the more recent battles was akin to the injury that Dusa received in season 1. It's a lingering injury here in the Witcher universe. It's something that if it isn't given rest will, as I'm sure JF can attest to, will come back again and again and again. So we decided to make the most out of Josh's unfortunate absence by putting Eris to bed and hopefully getting him sound as quickly as we possibly can. But before we can go forward, we obviously have to go back. And so, in a headliner-esque recap of episode 25, Sheila Loon and Florial are believed to have been twisted into Banshee spirits as learned by the PCs last week. It is assumed that this was done by the Sinblings, with the speculation being that their immortality, the immortality of the Sinblings, is tied to these two cursed creatures. Harold's work with the tome has also uncovered corresponding evidence in the form of an iconography-driven map. Yannicka spoke with Yorvith at the Algothana Hot Springs. There she saw and spoke to Florial, her deceased sister, who told her, at least her spirit told her, that she would once again have to be put to rest. She would have to be farewelled with fire, and it would have to be done by Yannicka's hand. Now, after that, Wim had a fateful conversation with the elf known as Brilar. Both he and Eris had a moment to speak, not as witchers or companions, but finally as brothers. Ainfra set her magics to task to both defend Yorvith's command tent and uncover a link or tether to the Sinblings via their curses or residual effects thereof. Meanwhile, Dusa, the Knight of Rhilestilen, moved among the elves and conversed with Yorvith, who commented not only on his acceptance by the Dryads of Broccolon Forest, but further confirmed said acceptance by granting him the title, whether it is earned or not, as the Prince of Broccolon. The winter is creeping down the mountainside. The elves are ready to march. The Sinblings move to twist more of the world with their curses, but now is a time for heroes. So, my friends, what will you do? Our action takes place. We were starting about midday when last we left, so we're looking at late afternoon. Eris has been put to bed. The rest of you have been able to, Wim, you've been able to get your armor back. It is sound and fixed by the local dwarven forge smith. Everybody else, you've been able to gather any type of on-site provisions that you may need. Ainfred, you have completed your task of the spell that you were placing and everything has been set. Harold, you have been able to glean as much as you have so far from the tome and basically verified what you've learned. But with that, now that the sun is beginning to set here in the valley of the Blue Mountains, with the elves surrounding you, they are with you. They will act as both your surrogates and as your support. You know that somewhere in the Blue Mountains lies the pleasure dome of the twin elves known as the Sinblings, curse wielders and curse makers of the highest order. You have agreed to take on the task of killing these two, but as Yorvith has told you, he doesn't know how. You have leads, you have promises, but as of yet, no action. What would you like to do?
Can I request everyone who is currently cursed or has been cursed, just give me about half an hour, see if I can't clean some of that off of you? Including the two skulls of the very charming Pole and Lark.
Yeah, I suppose I can try to gather materials for some oils, potions.
A lot of those.
Yeah, witches. Maybe have a quick meeting, divide and conquer, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Harold,
Mm.
why does it say you're the only one who's allowed to read this book in my sister's handwriting?
That's not what I read there.
It says only Harold of Oxenford can read this.
Maybe there's an enchantment. This book writes itself. It obviously has some form of...
Books don't write themselves. That's not how books work.
No, there
People
are
write
times that
them.
no.
Everything's whatever.
This book does, okay?
It's not so much that it writes itself as that it reveals itself.
I'm pretty sure a book that continuously updates its contents, including lineages of human noble lines, is a magic book that writes itself for most intents and purposes.
That's weird.
Unless, well, I mean, you could be looking at something that's already been written through deviation, and therefore it's not about writing, it's about revealing as it comes true or not, depending on the time. Never mind, that's an esoteric debate for a different time.
Just wondering, because this is supposed to be my sister's book. So, that's all.
Well, it was in Oxenford as of a
Yeah,
few
well,
months ago.
Everything we had was stolen. That was of elvish importance, so that doesn't surprise me terribly much.
Leave it to the Redanians to loot shit.
Or fake witchers, whatever.
What? Fake witchers? What?
So, do we want to talk about the fake witchers, the possibility of a sorceress overwhelming everything, or preparing with a bunch of oils and things that, as I think that she should be doing? I'm gonna try and do some other stuff and maybe talk Yannicka into doing some other things.
Yeah. There's a hunt that's going to be happening. We need to prep for that. Focus.
You know how to make blade oils, Harold?
I know a few things.
That was not my question. Everyone knows a few things. Do you know how to make blade oils?
Yes, I know how to make blade
Okay,
oils.
I'm gonna need you to show me.
Right. But aren't you supposed to be getting decursed or something?
Yeah, well, you could show me after that. Dusa. I have homework for you. Pulls out just a sheaf of some papers. Here.
Sorry, what is this?
It's everything I know about the that root we got that I'm blanking the name on right now, but I know I wrote it down.
Sire Bonet?
Yes, Siren Bonet. Thank you. It's everything I know about Sire Bonet. In case I can't administer it.
Right.
You're always the one assisting or trying to assist with medical things. I thought this would be most interest to you.
Probably be useful. Really
More than one
soon.
person should know how to use it.
It's very wise.
Now, and Harold, if you're going out harvesting for things, just give me a second. I'll give you a list.
Yeah.
I don't suppose there might be another alchemist in the village we could just ask for help as well.
Turn to Yorvith. Do you have anybody skilled in the arts of alchemy?
He's been listening to the talks of blade oils and Sire Bonenet, and the look that he gives you speaks of yes, the elves possess this knowledge, but this is like a guerrilla unit that is currently out here. And so he gestures a bit. We are warriors. We do not bring alchemists with us. We have equipment that we use to boil down certain poultices for first aid, but beyond that, we are ill-equipped for what it appears you need.
That's enough. I don't need a full alchemy set.
I mean, I've got one in my pack. Travel set, but it works.
There you go.
All right. Hands him just a list. Herbs and materials.
These are all in area.
Should be.
Yeah, if you share with Yorvith, he would quickly, anything that you need, he would quickly say where it is in location to the camp. North, quarter of a day. You'll see it on the south side of nearest rise. And he indicates just by geographic location, which, Harold, you would be the most aware of, probably outside of Yannicka. Just because you've seen the maps and looked at all of these things in relation to, as you were putting elements from the tome and the maps that they provided with you. You figure you could probably, if you all went together, it would take several days to collect all this stuff. If you all went separately or in groups of two, it would obviously take substantially less time. However you would like to do that, and tell me what you would like to make or what you would think you would need, and then I will tell you how long it will take, and you can decide how to split yourselves up.
So I know from my end of things, I was looking to get everybody at least one bottle of Swallow, probably a thing of Full Moon Potion, and then at least 2 doses of Spectre Oil for each of the Witchers, if not for everybody. You know, just the simple shopping list.
As like, if you're trying to concoct that thought in your head, Wynn would approach you as like, you know how to make any mutagens?
Only noon wraith decoction.
Shit, okay. Dusa?
I can make the cat potion.
No mutagens then. Alright.
You have to go hunting for mutagens too. I don't think we got time for that.
I was going to say...
Didn't we have a few?
You do. And I'm
rock troll and all that.
You do have the ability to create, because of things you've harvested earlier, you can have the ingredients needed to make the rock troll mutagen, a portion of the noon wraith mutagen because of the wraith essence that you found, and also because you were given portions of Becky Breaker's nails to satisfy the tongue aspect, you can do a hag one as well. All of those have permanent effects.
Permanent effect?
Permanent.
Dot.
Effects.
Yeah. They're mutagens.
We don't know what they are?
Oh, we know.
Yeah, I can tell you what those are, but as far as the mutagens go, the mutagens are basically, you take elements of the creatures that you have slain, their liver, their pancreas, whatever it is that it's called for, you prepare it either as a tea or as food or some type of potion, and then once you take it, your Witcher metabolism absorbs the mutant characteristics of the creature that you have taken and absorbs it into your own mutations that you received during the Trial of the Grasses.
We got a couple things that can happen there. I think those are all body ups, HP ups.
HP ups, yeah. Yeah, let's add to the ingredient list some rock troll and noon wraith. We can divvy that up as is, and we'll try to have enough left over for Eris, if we can find the stuff.
You will be lucky and happy to know that you already have what you need for the mutagen aspects of the hag, noon wraith, and rock troll. Those are one-offs, though. As soon as you take that stuff, like I said, the effects are here to stay.
Okay. So yeah, it looks like the Grave Hag ones adds 5 HP and then a minor mutation of a long great tongue. I think women can find some use for that. So we can add that to the list and we can go forward separately.
Well, I'm going to need you to stay for a little bit, Win, because you and Yannicka and Yorvith are all covered in cursed necromic energy.
Me and Dosa can go work out routes while you get this taken care of.
Some of the elves might be able to help you locate some of the easier, more common herbs. Greg, I want to try to make, because I know Eris is going to ask for it, and he basically gave me the recipe for it. The last time we went alchemying, I'm going to make some black venom. I'm pretty good on healing stuff, actually, surprisingly, because I brought a shit ton of it with me when we first started the campaign. She also wants to make just more, alchemical adhesive. And with blade oil instructions, try her variation on the Wives' Tears blade oil, because she hasn't been able to do that in a while. So I'm trying to figure that out.
And then one question, because I had a Hangman's Venom blade oil. Is that a one-use situation, or can you constantly apply it?
What we said from the beginning of the campaign, if you make an application of blade oil, you can use it twice, and each time you use it, it's good for 30 minutes.
Okay, so I've used that once, so I still have stuff of that.
Technically, it's 15 minutes, but you can't get anything done in 15 minutes, so I made it 30. Take that, our Talsorian Caves.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
then I guess I'm staying you then.
Just for long enough to get the curse done. You'll be out and picking plants with the rest of us.
I'll probably start getting to work brewing things. I have some of what I need.
Give me like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah. Just making plans for after that.
Okay.
I know that you're
Everyone's here.
Right, I know you're currently all being pulled in multiple directions, so allow me to not help with that. You have the blade oils, potions, mutagens, decoctions that you can put together. You have the curse tether that Ainfor wants to work on.
Mm-hmm.
You have the other things that you want, the alchemical adhesive and everything else that you want to do. Also, I will let you know that you do have exact or relatively exact locations on the 2 banshees that are apparently Florial and Sheila Loon. The elves that have found both of those or uncovered both of those spirits have offered to take you there to recon or scout. Obviously, that is completely up to you, but each of those moves are roughly a half day, quarter day, half day in opposite directions. So, you're welcome. And tell me in what order you would all like to come to some grand agreement on how you would like to do things. I'll be over here.
I feel like we're being drawn into a trap,
Oh, it's obviously a trap.
so that therefore we should discuss perhaps how we wish to approach this.
Well,
Like to walk into traps.
Sometimes there ain't no choice.
Are we on a massive
found that
time
out.
constraint?
I mean,
We're not killing anything today. Eris needs rest.
obviously
Yeah.
not.
And why not just take the whole force, each banshee at a time?
What if we gotta kill them simultaneously? If they curse in doubles, they could be tied together.
Are they bound to a location, or are they bound to an object?
Don't know.
Gotta scout.
Well, if they are bound to an object, we put one out, take the object, bring it to the other one, and fight both of them at the same time.
So,
That's presuming they're alone.
If they have other things guarding them, siblings raising up corpses or whatnot.
Which is why it'd be best suited for all of us to go together instead of splitting up.
Depending on how far out they are.
Half day in opposite directions.
That's a whole day's travel between them.
Yep.
Does anybody see any advantage in scouting?
Might know how many.
That's right.
If we're going
Terrain.
out and gathering things anyways, we can at least swing by, get a quick lay of the land.
Weren't you all just talking about traps? We don't,
If one of us goes, at least there'll only be one of us in the trap.
and we won't know because you won't come back.
Oh no.
I think that'd be a good sign that it was a trap. If they don't come back. Not a good sign, it's just...
My perspective and offering for this is, let's concentrate on what we do know first, which is they're banshees, they're curses. Things we need to break apart, things we need to prepare for. So why don't, while I break apart some of these curses from Wim and Yannicka and Yorvith, and she kind of says that over her shoulder at him. Harold and Dusa work on finding the beginnings of things that you will need to fight the banshees. And then, once that is broken, we can let Wim and Yorvith continue to assist Harold and Dusa in scouting out these banshees that probably need to be decursed and separated and their spirits forced out of them so that we can end this thing.
Will it be ended once?
Probably not.
Right.
We probably have to kill them first.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's steps on the path.
I just feel like all we do is fight spirits of our loved ones instead of taking it to those.
Well,
Sounds like we're close to the source of some of these woes. You cut them off. Maybe that'll give you a little bit of breathing room to get at who you need to get at. Greg, may I take a quick stab at my Witcher training to see what I can remember about banshees?
Sure thing.
I feel like that's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
That was a 21.
21 is not bad. With that 21, you are able... Banshees in and of themselves are often mislabeled. Just because normal wraiths and specters tend to wail and moan a lot, they are mislabeled as banshees. Banshees can often be... because they don't necessarily have an aggressive track to them, they aren't vengeful. They are territorial in a sense, and that the territory that they currently occupy, they are fiercely territorial of, but they are also nomadic. They aren't tethered to a space like a noon wraith is, or somebody that has been wronged. It's not, targeted and labeled by vengeance. It's wandering. It's the definition of a wandering spirit. And so with a banshee, you're not sure exactly what you're going to get. Obviously, the wail is in play. You would know that from the studies either at Oxenfurt or during your training. You would remember that the scream of a true banshee can rattle even the strongest warrior, can cause them to freeze, can cause them to go prone, can cause them to weep uncontrollably or remember things terrifying. There's been numerous different effects that the wail can give to the recipient of, or whoever hears it. Also, there have been bits and pieces of the story that say that they can control the dead. The recently dead, the long dead, that they have the ability themselves to manipulate fallen forces.
Yeah, that sounds about right up the alley. Okay, so banshees. Banshee's a free roamer. Doesn't necessarily have to be tied to an object, but that doesn't necessarily matter with these two in play. We can assume that they will have some form of protection other than just themselves, even if they're the ones bringing it up themselves. If they are actually banshees, they ain't just some specter, ghost, or whatever the fuck, then we gotta worry about whales. Gods forbid. That's one thing. Noon Wraith decoction also is a fine protection against such things. But even if, as you said, you got some Noon Wraith floating around, that's only enough for one.
If we can't hear the whale, then we won't be harmed.
That legend's a little fuzzy on. You can try. It's not a guarantee, though.
Have you fought one before? Or is this just from a book?
Let's roll for it, Harold. You want to roll for it?
Actually, I would love to roll for that.
Let's roll for it and see if you have it. Let's do let's see. Let's do another Witcher training, and let's say that anything over 20 you have, anything under a 20 you have not.
Sure. Yeah, I've fought one before. Does plugging the ears work against a banshee?
If you, let's just say that in the story that is part of your life path as Harold of Oxenfurt, you would know that a person that led you to the banshee that you took, maybe perhaps down in the Nilfgaardian Empire, south of the lines, whenever you went in, the person that led you there plugged their ears with wax. It did not stop them from going mad.
So, about 20 years or so back, I went down Nilfgaard way. Said it was a banshee. Guy tried stopping his ears up. Said he made some, what do you call them, earplugs. Just little things of beeswax or such. And he dropped just like anybody else. Luckily, I had a bit of decoction on hand. Wasn't the worst possible thing. But that screaming was a right bastard.
They move like Wraiths do.
Similar.
So, regardless, we should open up with Jurgen.
Yeah. Hit some
Slow him
Jurgens,
down.
Stick it. Make sure it can't float back. Like I said, spectre oils. Make it hurt real good for him.
Harold, you would know from your experience that while they moved like wraiths, when you attacked with your silver, there was the incorporealness of the banshee was nothing like a wraith. They were solid.
But it ain't a wraith, not fully. The silver don't do anything extra. Just bring your heavy stuff.
He looks down at his gut. I am the heavy stuff.
Sure.
Well, let's follow Ainfrith's plan. That's solid.
As good a thing as any as we're gonna get for right now, I think. At least we have more than one of us to do the scouting. Better than I had in the past.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, from the back ranks, you would hear Eorvith, not the back ranks, but behind your kind of circle, you would hear Eorvith, you also have us. I mean, we know these, dare say we know these mountains a fair bit. and we seldom bring the heavy stuff.
But they can ask for your assistance from your other troops, but I need you here because you're covered in
after we
chromatic
break-
energy as well. And
after
she
we
turns
break
and says that
curses.
says that to Yorvith.
Yeah.
Very well. If time is a lucrative commodity.
Well, best get to breaking the curses. We'll start getting ready to make the trips out.
Ainfru, where do you want me?
I'm going to ask you and Yorvith and Yannicka to stay in here, because right now I'm about to activate this ward and make sure that nothing can get through. And then I'm going to be doing some little bit, and she kind of cracks her neck, complicated.
It's not the kind of complicated it's gonna make me shit my pants, is it?
Not unintentionally?
I find that it's odd that that's a concern, but okay.
Okay, I'll be back in 5 minutes. And then Wim goes to walk off in the woods by himself because he doesn't want anyone watching, because it's, the age-old adage you're just not supposed to know the answer to.
I forgot how ingrained that is in this entire campaign. But that's... Oh, love you, buddy. Okay. Yorvith, we'll wait.
She'd turn to look at Yorvith and go, and Yannicka, well, this is like my point when I sound like a mother, but if you need to, now's the time.
I have no fear that I will shit myself.
Don't piss yourself either.
Yeah, I'm gonna be right back.
The hell is going on here?
Are we gonna have an awkward moment in the woods? Is that what we're gonna have? Wait, there's fucking
Nice tree
100
coming off them.
acres. You had to come right next to me.
All of a fanfic you're writing here, guys.
And then Anfred would turn and look at Dusa and say, ask very politely, on that list of things that you're doing, be careful. I have that feeling in the back of my neck. I can find you. I can't find him yet. And she kind of turns and looks at Harold when she says that.
Stay together.
Thick as thieves will be.
So let me ask this question as everyone else has taken a bio. Harold and Dusa, you're going out to gather, or are you scouting, or trying to do both?
I thought we were going to try and do a little bit of each.
I'll allow that. I mean, you can absolutely, with the instructions that you've been given for the various things that you can find, I will allow you to obviously deduce what is the straight line, like, train track to one of the two Banshee sites and kind of pick up herbs along the way and maybe kind of loop back, presumably, once you scout the area. I mean, you can maximize your time.
That's the idea, basically, because the assumption is we're on a clock until otherwise noted.
Before we go scouting, though, I just want to ask Lorvith if they have any intelligence about where these Banshees are, or if they know anything about that area.
I can send some.
Any recon of their own?
Yes, I can send someone with you. Tell me who you would like to go see. Are you going to go southeast to Florial or northeast to Shilaloon?
I have no preference.
I feel like Florial is something known in this scenario, or at least partially known. Shilaloon is less known.
Then we'll go to Shilaloon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then you would know that Teruviel is the elf who found Florial's location, and she came and gave that to Eorvith. Eorvith, who is now tethered to whatever Ainfra needs of him, I can provide you with 3 of my scouts and Teruviel if you would like to broaden your band.
It would be very helpful, thank you.
You think so?
If nothing else, at least, hopefully one of us gets back to tell the tale. But I'm hoping it doesn't come to that.
Then you will be assigned Teruviel, who is a lieutenant of Eorvith. You will also be assigned the thin, gangly elf that has had several run-ins that are awkward in nature. His name is Skim. And you are provided with 2 older elves, 2 women, and each of them are named Marin and Pat. You suspect Pat is a nickname, as it does not sound elvish. Greg needs to make that known, so you don't think he just came up with it right now.
It's fine. We're not here to judge elf names.
Oh, yes.
All right. The more the merrier, then.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's anything else we can be doing, I think we should probably haul out.
Okay, so you head towards the southeast in the direction of Florial. What I would like for you all to do now that you are moving is let's make 3 separate rolls for each of you. These rolls will be, the DCs are decreased because you are have people that know the land, the elves are with you, but still I need you to make foraging rolls as foraging rolls as no, that's what's the one where you
Wilderness survival.
Wilderness survival is the one where you capture the ingredients.
Yes.
Make me 3 wilderness survival rolls apiece, please, and take the highest and let me know the lowest.
So we have 1 silver.
Mm-hmm.
A 3.
Looks like 17 is the low ball for this one.
Okay. And what's your high, Harold?
I believe that is 19 for the high.
She's an 18, I think. Oh no, it's a 20. 20 is my high.
Yeah, 18's your low, 20's your high.
18 is my low.
Okay, excellent. That's a great spread there. We're going to say that as you all move down, you have accomplished getting what you would need for the swallow potion, as the region is filled with the ingredients for that. They quickly, as soon as they are given the list, the elves say, "Oh, we can get this all along the way," and they point it out as you go. So on your trek down, which will take half a day. Now, I will let you know this, because it is late afternoon, you'll be getting there right around dark. Is that a problem for the Witchers?
We're Witchers.
Okay.
It's not.
Well, can we see in the dark? No.
You're a little bit better than most in the dark, but you're not, you don't have night vision. You know, you don't have like an absolute darkness, but your eyes are more equipped to soak in what light there is. You still need things like, cat potion and things like that, but for complete darkness.
It'd be hard for us to make our way back without. Will we be able to do it without torches, or making our way back?
The elves will not be using torches.
Yeah, the elves. The elves.
They can lead us. Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And then I'll be gathering whatever I can for cat potion.
No, I mean, we got all the swallow stuff basically on the way out, so I think it's our big get for that leg of the trip.
And I'm assuming that you're just getting enough potion to cover the Witchers, as this is high-grade poison to anybody else that takes it.
Pretty much.
Okay. You'll be able to get 4 swallows on your way down. So enough to cover all active Witchers and the resting eras. Ainfra, as the Witchers depart with the aforementioned Teruvial, Skim, Marin, and Pat, what would you like to do?
I want to do 2 things. One, I want to activate this ward so it becomes a full barrier.
Okay.
So it kind of, like, she would look at Yorvith and say, waiting for Yannicka and Wim. She's not going to do anything until Yannicka and Wim are back.
Okay.
But she'd look at Yorvith and say, if there's anything you need to tell your people, now's the time, because once I activate this, no one's coming in or out without my permission. Physically.
He would turn to the taller elf with the long, dark hair that kind of scrapes over one eye, has a bit of a hunch to one of his shoulders. The one that identified himself as Yavin. Yavin is the one that found Sheila Loon. It came in at the end of the session last time. He would convey the message, just you're on command until I leave this tent. And Yavin would, oh, right. And he ducks out.
Don't try and... You'll see it. It'll be glowy. It'll be slightly flashy. Don't try and hit it. It'll hurt you.
He looks at you and kind of... It's one of those moves where he's still looking at you as he backs out through the tent flap. It's almost like that Homer Simpson, you know,
So emo elf is backing out through the tent flap with just one eye showing from his looking through his hair.
Yeah, if you see the Gwent card, he is the emoest of elves. He is.
All right. And then we'll just wait for Wim and Yannicka, because the minute they're here, we're putting up this barrier.
Very well.
Nothing comes in or out.
I will ask this question, and I will allow Lindy and Billy to think about it. Do you want to, the two of you want to talk before you go back into the tent? You all think about that as Eorvith turns to Ainfra and says, well, while we're waiting, what's the deal with those two?
I'm sorry, what?
While we are waiting, what is the deal with those two?
They're adults. Yannicka's a very good healer. Wim's slightly not good with people in a conversational sense. I take that from being alone in the woods for an extended period of time. He's a very good witcher, and I do think he's a very sweet person. He cares for his brother quite a bit.
Sounds to me like you're excusing past actions of his. This is good for me.
Excusing past actions of what?
You're leading with his positives, things that he is good at. That tends to mean that you have seen the things that he is bad at.
I mean, I see a lot of what people are bad at. I see what you're bad at.
Yes.
Most of the people
Winking.
Are bad.
I'm a terrible winker.
Commitment. To something that isn't your cause.
Like a book I must be.
I spent 70 years committed to one who we balanced our work and our lives.
I always find it fun when witches and sorceresses speak of time.
Yes. We don't have quite as much as you do. We have quite a little bit longer than other folk, though.
You do. That's why I respect your opinion. I appreciate what you said about this whim. It provides me with footing.
Yorvith, I'm going to take off a sorcerer's hat. I'm even going to take off my vast knowledge of time hat and turn to you as a woman and tell you straight up, if your focus is on competing with someone else and not actually on her, you'll never get what you actually want.
Oh, you misunderstand. This is not a competition. I am an elf.
Yorvith, you don't have his stamina. It's guaranteed to be a competition.
Yeah.
Also, you've told her, well, you've told me, so I'm assuming you must have told her, if you didn't, you're a giant asshole, that you think you're going to die soon. So that seems...
The weight I feel under threat of being a giant asshole.
I know. You don't care. You don't care that you're called an ass. You don't care that you're a dick. But here's the thing.
Not at all. I am an elf.
But you still have one. Otherwise, what do? Shit in your pants all the time? Or just full of shit?
No.
Like I said.
Full of control.
But romance and relationships aren't about control, Yorvith.
A wise elven bard once said that love is a battlefield. In fact, one of our scouts has picked a nickname, Pat. And...
I'm familiar with that song.
Yes, well...
I'm also familiar with the ending of it.
We'll see. But I appreciate your candor and your information. It helps me in ways that I cannot fully express at this moment.
Yes. Don't worry, Yorvith. I'm not on your side, or Wim's side. I'm on the one person's side who actually has value in this fight, and that's Yannicka.
I agree. I think we're on the same team.
And let me tell you something else, Yorvith, while we're talking about teams.
Oh, please.
I'm very polite. I'm very nice. I'm very candid.
His eyebrows reach his hairline.
And let me be candid with you right now. I'm going to break that curse that's hiding you. I'm going to do what I can to keep you alive. I believe that you can help Ezren and his dream. And I believe that you actually do think you care for Yannicka. But the minute you do anything to make her at all doubt herself, her self-esteem, her worth in your eyes, I will pin you to the ground with giant spikes of ice and cut your balls off and feed them to you.
I'm not a young elf anymore. I'm no longer a fan of balls. So...
Then obviously you're not a fan of Yannicka. So... Because if you don't want them yourself, then you don't want to help her use them.
I find it odd that you think that I am antagonistic towards Yannicka. Or that I wish her ill.
No. You're just busy competing with another man for the affections of a woman. And forgetting, of course, the woman that's there.
Do you know the elven expression, do you have your heart?
I've heard it.
Well, that is what we ask of others. Does someone have your heart? It is not that someone has taken it. It is that you have given it to someone else.
Yes. You've given it away.
I have given mine, but I cannot take what is not mine. There is no competition. There is simply what will be. And that decision is solely Yannika's.
Exactly. I'm glad we understand each other.
Like I said, same team.
I don't think so. But good try. Also, you haven't seen a bunch of witchers running around who wearing the medallion of a dragon, have you?
Witches and a dragon. We have found a dragon medallion. Is that the same thing?
Possibly. There's one who's calling himself Ezekon of Kreve who wears such a medallion.
I know no Ezekon of Kreve, but I have found a dragon medallion that bears similar markings and ruination as that of a witcher medallion, though I know of no school of the dragon.
Yes, they're running around pretending to be witchers, and they're not quite.
Oh, lovely.
I fully support getting them the moment you see them, but I'll let you take your own choices.
Would you like me to send for the medallion? I would leave it in your care.
I'm going to melt it down and throw it in the ocean. You do know that those can be tracked, right?
Oh, I hope so.
Who do you want to track me then, if you want to give it to me?
I simply meant that we were holding on to it in the hopes that the corpses of my 2 scouts that were found with the medallion would somehow pull forth the wielder and the wearer of such. We have killed our fair share of witches and made deals with others. I believe Letho is someone known to your group.
The Viper I'm aware of, yes.
There is no honorific given to the witchers. We judge them by their actions towards the people being elves. When we find a medallion and 2 dead elves, well then, whoever was the wearer has questions that need to be answered. Thus, we brought the medallion with us.
After we are done with this, if you wish more information, I can give that to you.
I would appreciate it. As I said, same team.
Yorvith,
Yes.
I don't play for any team. My team right now involves killing a bunch of people and possibly keeping a bunch of other people alive. Actually, no, reversing that. Keeping a bunch of people alive, killing a bunch of people, and taking back what was taken from me.
I think I've finally figured out what it is that the 2 of us cannot agree on. We are too like-minded. I think you're angrier than I am.
Yorvith, 3 weeks ago I saw my beloved killed in front of me, and I was shot at the same time. I spent
That's
2
fair.
weeks carrying around a bunch of heads from those who killed him. I'm fully aware of who orchestrated this event. By the way, for your information, she's the same person who orchestrated the end of Ezren's dream.
His smile fades from his eyes. Now that is a story that I would like to hear.
It's a story I will tell after I break this curse, because right now, you're a battery, giving them power.
And as the two stare at one another over the brazier in the grand tent, command tent of Eorvith, we go back out to the pissing bush and see if Wim and Yannicka, is this just an awkward good day, or is this a conversation? Totally up to you all.
Wim would be solely focused on the task at hand,
Mm-hmm.
and then finding broad enough leaves to clean up after the task at hand. And then once he's done, gets up, does a weird stretch, and then heads back to the tent.
Yeah, Yannicka, I think, would try to catch him at like the tree line to the camp. Like, they're not gonna go to the same pissing bush. That's awkward. For anybody, everyone involved. And she'd be like, hey, so, sorry if I ran off quickly earlier today while you were really drunk. I just had some things I needed to deal with.
You're good. Yeah, no problem.
Cool. I just wanted to let you know.
Oh, yeah. It's fine. And then
Take a few. Yeah, to like walk along for a second, and then also, you know, like that thing we did like a day and a half ago.
Yeah.
Would you want to do that again sometime, or is that like a one-time thing?
I don't know. And then he'll turn around and walk back to the tent.
Okay. She'll just stand there a second and then follow.
And so I'd imagine Wim would be in the tent for like the last 75% of the conversation that Ainfra and...
No, this was done like as soon as you left, and throughout the process of what was done in the woods with the broadleaf. And then, you probably would come in...
It'd take you a while to find those leaves.
Yeah, Wim, you would come in though right at the end when the two... Maybe you would hear that's a tale I would like to hear. Like, right when the ending of that conversation would come in, because he wouldn't have continued it with you in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You would hear, though, at one point, whoever's the last one in, you would hear, what's my dwarven blacksmith's name? Banker Trill. You would hear Banker walking around the outside as he's cooling his different pots by the outskirts of the area with his forge, and you would hear, Fleck, for Christ's sakes, don't play over there! Lord Almighty! Something's happened. Something evil. And that wafts through the camp.
It's a poop wraith.
It is. My God, get the witchers. So as the rest of you gather in... Yeah.
Have you seen what they ingest?
Right. I mean, half of it's sort of dead. Ainfra, what would you like to do as...
Dead, thank you.
It's mostly dead, right? As you have the three in there with Eorvith, Wim, and Yannicka, what would you like to start doing?
First, she'd walk over and say, "You'll see it. It's shiny. Don't hit it. You can't get out unless I let you." And then she activates the magical barrier that she spent last session prepping, which is a full dome, 10 meters in diameter, that prevents everything from getting in or out. I control the ability of the oxygen, the environment. Temperature is very nice and comfortable. It takes at least 50 hit points to be destroyed, and I can take an action to spend 2 stamina to add an extra 10 hit points whenever I choose, as long as it's up. Then she'd turn to the three of them and say, "Okay, Well, that's there. It's very shiny. It's kind of like looks like has that look of like a window that just has that first layer of spiderweb frost upon it, with the first frost of the season.
You are, I desperately, having being a father of the Pirate Queen, there's Frozen jokes all over that I want to make because I've been forced to watch that movie, which I don't dislike. I admit it here freely in front of everybody. But yes.
Man.
Yes, the fractals that you have, the frozen fractals, if you will, that you have created along form this geodome. It is beautiful.
So, I need each of you, and she'd kind of put each of them in a triangle around the main brazier, and use that as kind of with her as a point. So equilateral triangle with her in the middle of
Sure.
the 2 points, probably, and she'd probably have it. She'd probably do this so that it'd be Yannicka, and then Wim, and then Yorvith. Trying mostly to prevent Yannicka from being Yorvith from declaring that he won because he was right next to Yannicka at all times, because proxemics is a thing, and then use that because she's already seen the tendrils that are out there, and when she was using the skulls, and she'd use dispel to try and force herself, focus on them ritually to break each of those tendrils. And because the barrier's up, it's like most of the energy that would be going from them can't.
Okay. You would immediately see, the rest of you would kind of have an idea. This is basically more for individual. You would feel a bit of a pull. Yannicka, you would feel a slight pull. You would feel it's weak as Ainfra is doing this. Yorvith would feel the same thing. He would feel a pull as well. Wim, you feel multiple tugs. You feel as if you're being pulled in several different directions. It's uncomfortable almost. It's not an emotional tug of war. This is physical, as if someone has a hold of your shoulder and your hip, and they're trying to pull you in a different direction. You can feel tension on your muscles. You can feel a pressure and a presence, and it's getting uncomfortable.
He's physically he's tugged around, he's resisting, and then he thinks he recognizes one touch that comes on his shoulder, and he'll look up in a direction that he thinks it is and go, Samantha?
And I think Ainfra's just too focused right now on just cutting threads as she can to even register what he's saying. She, her eyes are full.
You are able to dispel the similar residuals that you see on both Yannicka, and you see a similar residual on Wim. You're able to kind of cut through the ones that you believe to be of the same weave. You're also able to cut through the residuals that are coming from the skulls, that are kind of moving up and helixing, and kind of, as you would see them, braiding as they kind of spread through this space. However, there are several on both Yannicka and Wim that you cannot touch.
I think she gets pissed and frustrated about that, and she just pushes more power through it to try and break as much of them as she can at the moment. Because she doesn't want any of them bound to anyone else that they don't, in this way.
Yorvith, when you get to his, you see that it has a similar weak kind of fading line that both Yannicka, the ones you could cut from Yannicka and Wim did, and the skulls, and you're able to sever those. And once you're done, it seems as if Yorvith doesn't have any more curses that you can see that are binding him or holding him to his some type of destiny that is beyond the one he, that we all have. No predestination. He's just kind of watching you. He doesn't seem uncomfortable. But again, there are ones that are on Yannicka and Wim that are, you can't make any headway with them. And they look very different than the ones that you have been able to sever.
Glancing at herself, do they look very similar to anything coming off of her?
Off of Ainfra?
Yes.
Exactly like one coming off of Ainfra.
And she looks at those and goes, well, that's upsetting. And I think she would... I think she would like reach out for one of those from both Yannicka and Wim and like tug on them like you're pulling on like a bell pull or something. Just be like, hi, I know these are here. I know I can't take these off, but you should know that I know that I'm here. And then she lets them go, kind of thing. It's like, hi. I can't call you, but I'm calling you, I guess. Kind of. Bothering Gunter Odim.
Right, Yannicka and Wim, roll an endurance roll for me, please.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
You and Yorvith watch as Yannicka and Wim fall flat-backed to the ground. You can make a move for one. They are on the ground. Both of them have their hands out in a similar, almost like messianic pose, like a Jesus Christ pose. And their eyes are wide open, but they have no pupils.
Do either of them fall towards the brazier or actually anything that would look like they hurt themselves?
No, it's very Exorcist. They kind of lean down.
Then she's not going to let that. She's not going to worry about that. If they don't hurt themselves, then I have other things I'd be worrying about.
What did you do?
They made a deal. I can't break their freely chosen deals.
What did you
As much as I
do?
want to.
They are
I
not
just told you.
upright. They are fallen.
They'll get up when I break the magics that I'm using. Or, if you want, I can try and attempt to summon the person they made a deal with, but I don't think that's a good idea right now.
This seems reckless.
All magic is reckless in some manner, as much as you might pretend that it's not.
I pretend nothing. I am not a magician. But I do
And
know
neither am
rage.
I.
I do know rage, Ainfra. Are you acting within the purview of your profession? Or are you acting with rage?
I'm always cold as ice, Yorvith. It's my gift.
He would kneel down and check both of their throats. He would place his long fingers, his calloused draw hand on Yannicka's throat, and the hand he holds his bow with on the throat of Wim, and put his back to Ainfra as he checks both of them.
Like I said, they'll both be fine. I cannot break that which they have freely chosen.
Why didn't you and I fall over?
Because I wasn't trying to break them at the time, And you don't have that free choice.
What do you mean?
And she kind of like breathes heavily because she's still maintaining the magics
right.
in here. And it's not easy. And she might be just starting to slightly sweat as she's doing this. And she looks at Yorvith and say, "You were cursed. I could break that. You didn't choose it. You didn't make a deal. You didn't make a contract. You didn't bargain or promise. Give something of yourself away. They made a deal with an entity, a person, a being. But there was their free choice."
Who is this being?
I can't answer that. I honestly don't know his name.
Did you make a deal as well?
Less a deal and more confirmation of what I already knew was going to happen.
Finish what you're doing, sorceress, and drop this.
Of course, Hunter, happily. And she just reaches with the staff and completes the magic and starts pulling the threads of magic back into her. And I think she just lets it kind of coalesce around her and then drops it. And she's breathing a little heavily because it was not an easy or simple task. And then she looks at the dome that's still up, and Ray pulls a hand and just kind of pulls gently to pull, like as if she's pulling the whole dome in and around and allowing people in and out again.
Yannicka and Wim's eyes would blink and then open, and the pupils would have returned. And the first thing that both Yannicka and Wim would see would be a Yorvith. And he would look and realize that Wim was waking up, and he would pat him on the chest. "You'll be all right. You've got heavy stuff." And then he turns around to Yannicka. He looks down. "You'll be all right as well. At least, as far as my healing talents can say." And he would...
That's not saying a lot.
He would smile, and you would see that pull on the side of his face that's scarred, and he would get up and offer again his string hand to Yannicka and his bow hand to Wim to help you up. You may take them if you wish.
How far away is he? He's obviously within the distance that it would matter, but how does this affect us as soon as we wake up? Like, what does it feel like?
For you, Wim, you no longer feel that pull. You no longer feel that muscular kind of draw. You don't feel that you have fallen and hurt yourself. You have that disorientation of waking up in an obviously awkward position. The last thing you remember, you were standing and awake. The next thing you know, your whole perspective has changed. So there's that moment of disorientation where the brain itself is, for you all, it was instantaneous. So you have that moment where your brain catches up and says, okay, here's how the world looks for the second. After that goes by, you feel normal.
Then he would take Yorvith's hand.
It takes Yannicka an extra couple of seconds. She's getting her bearings after that disorienting feeling. It's like, what happened? She's on the floor. And, that's happened before. She's woken up on the floor before. But Wim was also on the floor. So she's like, did I do something bad?
We need to talk about who you've made contracts with. But other than that, you're fine. I broke the curses that were binding you.
Oh, well, thanks.
Oh, good. Thank you. What about? And I gesture to the skulls.
Them as well.
Good.
And Yorvith.
And me.
How'd you get cursed?
I have no idea. Just lucky, I guess.
But if you don't mind, I'm going to go lie down for about 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yorvith would go to the edge of his tent and open the flap, and just on the other side, several of his guards, especially Emo Elf, are all standing there kind of peering in as the tent flap is exposed, and he gestures Ainfra out.
She would walk out, like, straight by him, like, stop, check on, like, kind of glance at Yannicka and glance at Wim. It'll be fine. And she'd walk out and have her back perfectly straight, giving the impression that nothing was wrong whatsoever. But I think Yannicka and maybe Wim would notice that slight tremor in her hand as she has it on the staff. And she's actively carrying that big Frostfang staff and isn't leaning and isn't letting it be hidden the way she's done for most of the time you've known her. It's not like she's leaning on it, obviously, but she's got it kind of with her as if she was prepared to lean on it if she needs to.
As soon as Ainfra would leave, Yorvith would let the tent flap go. And when he makes eye contact with Yavin, who's just outside Emo Elf, he would just kind of shake his head for a second and then let the tent flap drop, separating the two. And he would turn back to Yannicka and Wim. How well do you know her?
We've been traveling for a little bit. What is it you'd like to know?
Nothing. I just wished to make you aware, if you weren't already, that she is very powerful and very mad.
Makes sense. I don't know her particularly well, but Ezekon did, and I trusted him to an extent.
Ezekon is known to us. He used to winter with Shilaloon here in the mountains.
Yeah. I visited a few times.
His acceptance of her is favorable, but I believe she is guided by fire.
Well, what I do know is she is a big fan of wanting to freeze hearts and step on them with her heel.
I can appreciate that.
Specific.
Yeah. If it's not specific, it's not satisfying, you know.
You have an image in mind?
Nothing specifically currently, but previously, yeah.
It's very elvish the way that she wishes death, if that is the case, but...
Like, if you say you're gonna hang someone with their own, like, intestines, that's, you know, that's specific. It's different. Or if you're gonna make someone choke on their own spleen, you know, it's things like that. If you just say, I'm gonna kill you, that's not...
It doesn't have the same pomp, I understand. And if you say, I'm going to hang you by your entrails enough, you ultimately have to do it once in a while, even though it's disgusting, and it's a lot harder than it looks. But you have to fulfill a promise every once in a while. I mean to say, without jest, that she is burning out, in my opinion. Rage can only carry you so many steps.
That's when the devotion kicks in.
Well, I've tried to have a conversation. She can make her own choices. I'm not really that great at talking people out of things anyway.
I agree. I just wanted to make sure that if you were dear friends, that you would be aware of it, which, of course, if you were dear friends, you would be. My observations as a one-eyed elf.
Thanks.
Anyway, get the fuck out of my tent. I'm going to sleep. And he turns over and heads towards the back of the tent.
All right, well, that's my cue.
Yeah. Yannick, I'll just say good night as she leaves. It's very begrudging.
He would...
Like,
do you look back at him when you say that? When you're like, good night? Or do you... Are you straight-eyed and straight out?
I think if there's any reflective surfaces, she'd try to catch it in there, but if not, she's not turning back. She's not looking.
Okay, let's roll for this. We'll end, before our break, we'll end with a roll. So roll me a... I just want you to spot this. What's the spot hidden thing for this?
Awareness?
Awareness. Roll me an awareness. I've been playing
Sure.
a lot of systems this week.
Same. 21.
Yeah, you see that there is a bit of it's not a brass fixture. You suspect that it's probably like a copper or something, and it's used in the very few bits of metalworking that the elves do. It's part of like the roll fasteners for the tent itself, and you see just enough that he's looking back at you as you walk out. You can't see exactly what his expression is, but he was looking to see if you were looking. But he did not notice you looking in the reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do anything as you walk out, or are you just gonna...
No, I'm just gonna walk out. That was it.
Okay. So as you walk out, you are met with the creeping night of the Blue Mountains, while off to the southeast, a group heads closer towards the continuation of a destiny defined. We'll be back in a few seconds, friends. Hopefully my mic's on. There we go. Welcome back, everybody, as we are diving deeper into the Witcher family of Wraiths. I almost said family of elves. Elric on the brain. Okay. As our group travels southeast, this group consists of 2 known Witchers to us, known commodities in both Dusa and Harald. And also, we have 3 of the Elven Scouts and Teruviel, the Elven Lieutenant, that was gifted to the group by Eorvith. We're going to flash forward a bit, and along the course of this travel, you were able to get enough of your ingredients to create Swallow for all 4 Witchers, that is. And so as you're collecting these ingredients and putting them away, Dusa, at one point you are, as you're sitting down, kind of pulling out the thrush bush and, like stripping off seedlings and seed pods and stuff like that. You would look up and see Teruviel, who is an elf with kind of auburn hair. Well, it's like brown hair that's braided almost in a Viking style against her chest. And she would be ripping and pulling the seed pods off as well as she looks over at you. And can I ask you something?
Yeah, I'll nod.
Is everyone involved in your group?
And she can see that Dusa is tense. He's been tense from the outset of this expedition. And he kind of looks away, clenches his jaw a bit impatiently and looks at her and says, I don't know.
She genuinely smiles at that. I don't really mean to pry. It's just that, we seldom see anyone from beyond the mountains. And 4 witches is something in and of itself, but you are an enigma to us.
How so?
Well, the Dryads of Broccolon have given you leave to come and go in their forest as you will. That hasn't been done in an age.
Perhaps it's because they know I must reclaim my bow.
I don't believe it's because of a bow. Now, I may be wrong. Perhaps it is a special bow, but...
No, it's my bow. And I will return to reclaim it. And stay there, perhaps. If I have the chance.
She actively kind of squat walks over to you when you say stay there. You can see her kind of move over, and she's about 2 feet away from you now and drops the thrush bush that she was de-seeding. And you said what? Stay there?
Have you been to Broccolon?
No.
Well,
I am not a fan of arrows in me.
Oh. Well, notwithstanding that, if you did go there, you would find that it's probably the finest place to hunt. And therefore, you'd probably leave your bow there too. Knowing that there's no finer place.
For the first time in our 26 episode campaign, and even though this is not something that I am by any means forcing, but simply I want to have like a passive score here. Dusa, roll me seduction.
Oh. Yeah, it's very passive here. He's worried about other things.
So what's your passive? Sure, seduce.
I need the passive seduction.
Come on, seduce.
Yeah, well, we got some silver, so thanks, everybody.
Boost it.
It's boosted. It's 12. So, yeah.
And
And that's boosted. So, but yeah.
But again, this is passive. This is
Right,
not you're not actively trying.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he's actually avoiding, if anything, at this point.
Teruvial looks at you. Are you allowed to bring guests? As the Prince of Broccolon, I would think that you could have a +1.
I did not stop to ask.
But that's not a no.
It's not a no. Perhaps you should go. You should go ask them.
Maybe I can get a autograph or... at this point, I want you to roll human perception. Even though, again, the elves would shit if I called it that, but it's human perception.
All right, he's just... Here we go. Oh, it's a 13.
Okay,
On the scale of human perception, that's great.
Oh, well, she sucks at it too. Okay. So you're pretty sure, again, this is like, I don't know how to politely say this, so I'm going to go ahead and say it like this. This is the first time fumbling of the buttons with two people together, only in a seduction tete-a-tete, as you're pretty sure she's trying to flirt with you, but it's rough. And she's, well, you could give me an autograph or some type of writ, perhaps, that could get me into Broccolon.
Dusa stamps his foot and rises and looks at her and says,
She remains where she is.
You'd best keep your head on where we're going, girl. There's plenty of trouble ahead.
Oh, there's plenty of trouble here. And she crosses her legs and drops into like a crisscross applesauce and legit bats her eyes at you.
And Dusa, who is not in the mood for this at the moment, harumphs and turns around and looks for Harold.
You hear because anything that the elves do in succession and repetition sounds musical, you hear a musical laughter as she drops from her crisscross applesauce and lays on her back looking up into the nighttime trees. And as she's laughing, you can hear, just as you walk away, her say, "I've been harumphed."
Well, if I had a nickel for every time that happened.
Right. So yeah, you can. What would are you just gonna continue on your path?
He's gonna continue on his path. He's gonna ignore that. He knows where they're heading, and it's Shilaloon, and he's got a deep sense of foreboding. He's looking for Harold at this point. He wants to see if he can have a talk with him.
So you all would then begin to continue your travel. You probably have another hour or two if the elves are right, and they're almost always right when it comes to geography here in the Blue Mountains. But Skim is leading the way, not because he was out with the party, but because he knows this area best, apparently. And so this tall, thin, young-looking, gangly elf continues to kind of pop his head back in and say, he always seems to be a bit out of breath, but he would say, "A pass between the two oaks. I'll meet you there." And then he takes and scouts and runs off ahead of the two of you. But Harold, you and Dusa have a chance as you're kind of walking quietly through the nighttime forest.
How does he get to be a scout, being that breathy?
I don't know if we should be having them scout ahead of us.
Why? They know the land better than us.
That's true.
Use the resources you got. Especially when it's freely offered.
Well, we'll know if they don't seem that competent to me, but I'm feeling tense.
I wouldn't underestimate the Scoia'tael that much. They're no slouches. You know, not everybody, not all of them are perfect, but they're a lot better than a lot of human armies. Pound for pound.
Well, tell me, you know of this Sheila Loon?
She was traveling with Ezekon when I met him.
You did meet her.
Very briefly. She wasn't really the chatty sort, unlike the rest of these elves.
Seems like I'm the only friend that never met her.
Like I said, it's only so much in the way of meeting. A few words bandied about doesn't really mean you know somebody's life story.
All right. In any case, she's got plenty of reason to be angry. By the time we get there, I'm sure there'll be some kind of trap waiting for us.
Potentially. If we play our cards right, we don't spring it until we're good and ready. If at all. That's the trick. We're not trying to do anything other than see what's there. We don't get too close. We don't play foolishly about it. We just get the lay of the land, and then we make our way back and bring what we know.
Dusa meets your eyes. He seems to respect what you just said. He says, do you like to hunt?
If I must be fair, not as much as you'd think. Mostly a city boy. But, when you grow up learning how to go and kill things, you still maintain an appreciation for the craft.
Well, maybe we'll have a chance. For the time being, this is it.
If I must be honest, getting to do a proper hunt like this, it's kind of a nice change of pace as of late. Rather than being chased by a bunch of human, fleshy foes. Something a little supernatural.
He interrupts you and grabs your arm, and he looks at you. He's very tense. He says, I do not want to face her.
Okay. Do you want to go the other way? No? What's your problem then?
I must face her. You should get going.
Right. Tug his arm out of your grip. Let's go then.
And the next hour passes into 2, and at the 2-hour mark, the nighttime has fallen here in the valley, and Skim comes forward again, the breathy scout. Just right over the rise. She's there.
Right.
A good 30 feet above her we are.
Okay. Hold back.
What was she doing?
She looked like she was staring at fireflies.
That mean anything to you?
I suggest the scouts stay here and then...
Let's go and get our gander.
Yeah.
At this point, Teruvial, Skim, Marin, and Pat would be there, and they're dressed in, they have camouflage painted on their faces. They are completely, done up in the Scoia'tael garb of the current region. So they look very much like Recon. And gone is the mirth, gone is the innuendo from Teruviel's face as she comes forward this time, her bow in her left hand, the string kind of touching the inside of her left elbow as she walks up to both Harold and Dusa. You would have us wait back here?
Yes. You've done your work.
If we ain't come back after we've had our look for a few minutes, either we're on our way right behind you or we ain't coming back. It's that simple. And we ain't risking you needlessly. The least we can do, letting you out here to guide us.
She seems ready to protest, so I would like you to roll for me. Harold, roll me a leadership, if you would, right here.
Leadership? Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, that implies that, he has that skill, right?
Always give it a shot. Even if you don't have the skill, you can roll it. Yeah, she looks at you. Let's see how she reacts. She's not real...
Bless that silver. Bless that silver.
Very well, but we will set up a chain to be able to speak and observe. If you need us, call.
Done some fine work. We'll take over from here.
Side eye, do so a little bit. What's that speech about?
Yeah, they disappear, and let's roll me an awareness, the two of you, just to see if you can kind of get an idea of where this group kind of positions in the event that you would need them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
29.
Yeah, Harold sees them.
Nice.
It's just elves hiding in the dark.
Yeah, you both see them. So, yeah, the two of you would see as they go forward. Briefly, you would see as Pat kind of stops and gives kind of posts up a leg, a quadricep, and you would see Teruviel kind of lightly jump off of it up into the branches of the nearby tree and quickly and soundlessly move to a position and a point up in its branches. And then you would see as the rest of them split off, either helping one to climb up or ultimately jumping up and grabbing a branch and pulling themselves up until none remain on the forest floor.
That's not bad.
Would it be at all possible to kind of give Dusa a boost if he kind of tries to get some camouflage type of, maybe with the help of the elves if they have...
I was going to say, do they have any spare paint left over?
Oh, absolutely. If it's something that you all wanted to partake in, we can do like a little kind of short retcon flashback where this would have happened like throughout the course of maybe one of your stops or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they'd absolutely do that for you. Let's see. Each of you give me, you're going to be camouflaged, but give me a disguise roll nonetheless, just to see how well it kind of works.
Skill that's disguise. It's in craft. That skill that witchers are known for, disguise.
Everybody knows that witchers are great at disguise.
17
trying
on
to
that one.
disguise myself as a bush.
Right.
It's 10.
You have a couple like branches sticking up off your head.
Right. So what this means is that your different roles for disguise, you weren't the ones applying the disguise, but this means this is about how much materials the elves had left over to help you out. So you are absolutely camouflaged in that, you have the face paint on as much as the Scoia'tael, not by a long shot. But you have, reflective surfaces have been dulled. If either of you have, armaments or hilts or anything that might not necessarily have flash, but would have had some element of metal, have been dulled with kind of like a charcoal-based paint to kind of keep the reflection down. All the little tricks that the Scoia'tael have, they've given to you. You just don't look as cool as they do.
Right.
Looking for function.
Fair.
Yeah, function works. It's just not cool.
All right. Kind of shrug and start creeping forward. See what we can see.
Roller, we can't have Optimus Prime here, as I see in chat. This isn't his universe. Yeah, you scoot forward. Each of you roll me a stealth as you creep towards the lip that Skim pointed out to you.
That I did actually take a little bit.
Yeah, so 25?
24 on this end.
Nice. So despite the not cool but functional camouflage the two of you have, you are Witcher's made as you creep forward in the undergrowth of the Blue Mountains until you reach a sheet of rock that extends towards the edge and lip of what looks to be almost a hewn canyon. It has like a box canyon quality to it. And when you get forward, walking almost on one hand and pulling yourselves up like beasts of prey, you look down and you see in the middle of this box canyon vegetation that's kind of climbing the walls. And there's also, even with the chill in the air, at least 200 fireflies seem to be collected in one of the spots against the wall. And there stands back to you the semi-spectral vision of a banshee. Dusa, you would recognize the clothing that is on as elvish, the hairstyle that is worn as Sheila Loon's. Harold, you'd recognize this too, but not in the same type of intimate way that Dusa might.
Absolutely. Is there any other forms that we can see in this canyon?
Roll me awareness as you both creep and pull yourselves up, your Witcher eyes opening and sucking in every bit of light, including that of the fireflies, to aid in your... Ooh.
You're damn right I do. 33.
I'm gonna say Deuce is kind of transfixed by the vision of Shiloh.
That's fair.
Well, Harold, as you look around, you see the box canyon, but it's not it's box only in definition of length. There isn't a cap to either end of it. It just slopes upwards until it's on the same level as you. Now, this is a large canyon in that it's several hundred yards long, but it's not, it's almost a trench more than anything else. It seems to have been dipped down in some great moment or earthquake or geological event created this very kind of rectangular canyon, and then it rises to your right, rises to your left, until eventually it reaches the same elevation that you are currently looking down into it on. But from this position, you're 30 feet in, and you don't see any other forms, nor do you see any other animals that are either in the box canyon or surrounding the edge on the opposite side or your side. But with a 33 awareness, you know that all of the other elves, all 4 of them, and you know their locations. They are spread out in a semicircular pattern behind you. And Dusa, when you look over at Harold, you can actually see reflected in his eyes the distant light of the fireflies as that light is being drawn into his ability to see. He's drinking in every source of light in the area.
I'll glance over to Jusa really quick, then indicate down, and just hold up the one single finger.
So we'll he looks skeptical.
And he kind of has that, I know, right, sort of look going on.
He holds his hand and to indicate that they should wait.
We'll watch. Probably what? Take 15, 20 minutes? See if there's any change in what we see.
15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes if you wait that long, creep by, and this banshee just stares at this massive conjunction of fireflies, this gathering of these bioluminescent insects. She hasn't moved either. You can see that like elements of her dress her clothing seem to move. Her hair moves, or what is her hair now? But her frame is not.
The trick isn't that it's fireflies, greenery. Is it still winter on the canyon outside?
This is late autumn, the beginning of the first snow, as Yorvith said, was last night. So this is the turn. The seasons are ending and shifting and changing. This is the moment where autumn gives up the ghost and becomes winter. Here in the Blue Mountains, winter comes early. It creeps from the peaks down into the valleys. It smells like snow. Yet in this valley, you see fireflies, which are a midsummer.
Yeah, that's what's giving me pause here.
And so it is nighttime. Night has fallen.
Yeah,
we're
right.
almost dead of night at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, you're around like 9:30 right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Fireflies, okay.
And there's no snow on the canyon floor?
None whatsoever.
Okay, yeah. That's freaky. I think we pull back.
I'll look to Harold. So we'll look to Harold, and you can see that he wants to leave. You can see that he desperately wants to leave, just by the expression on his face. But despite how stoic it is, but he raises his hand again, and he says, he just raises his hand, indicating that he'd like for them to wait a bit longer.
Okay. We'll wait. Just a little bit longer.
Just a little bit longer. And as our two witchers on the hunt peer over on this rock shelf looking down into the Valley of Summer, let's cut back to the main camp. As we cut back to the main camp, I would simply ask Ainfra, Wim, Yannicka, it is 9:30 at night. It is the ability to perform or have done anything since the late afternoon. If you would like to work on a specific ingredient, I would have allowed you to go out and forage. Not allowed you. You could have go out and forage this afternoon in the hours that have passed in the attempt to try to either create or gather the ingredients for some of the potions and decoctions you wanted to work on. Or you may do anything that you want, because this is your game and I'm here to just tell you yes.
Ainfra would have gone back to an out-of-the-way corner and taken a little while to breathe herself. And then she would just kind of watch everyone and kind of hide herself behind something and set up a smaller ritual.
Okay.
trying to hide herself from everyone to see.
Roll me a stealth because you're in a camp full of elves.
Yes, yeah, that's fair. Wait, I can't read at the moment. That's that one. No, not gonna be great, but 16. They probably see her, but
You're always aware that the elves are aware. It's like home field advantage. They know every stick and tree and bush and track, and the elves in and of themselves are often portrayed, at least in the video games, as being like these hard ass, like rogue, recon marine type people. But in the books, I love that they have a little bit of that fae in them, a little bit of that mischievous type of side to them. So you're always aware that they're aware, and you're always aware that they're watching. There aren't any giggles or, nothing that's they're making fun of you, but they're keeping track, and they like having guests, whether they admit it or not.
yeah, she's just gonna set up for a very quiet kind of ritual out here, away from others. More to kind of do a little bit of things, realizing that she needs certain things that no one else can get for her except herself.
Okay. Wim and Yannicka, what would you have been doing during this?
Yannicka, she, after seeing the Witcher's craft the last time, she was not impressed. So she has gone off to gather a couple of key ingredients that she knows she's going to need to make some of the things she wants to, especially since Harold didn't leave blade oil instructions. She's going to get everything she knows she needs for her part of it. Just gather some things and then work on alchemical adhesive because she has all the stuff she needs for that. It's just finding the time. So she's going to look for some mistletoe in the mountains because I looked at the list of things that I need. And the things I can't pull out of my bag would be mistletoe or mushrooms, but mistletoe sounds way more fun.
Mistletoe sounds fantastic. Especially since,
I have to ask, does Yannicka have a golden sickle with which she uses to cut the mistletoe?
No, she's not fancy. She probably just uses her elven knife. I know. No golden sickle. It's not quite her style.
So we can't call her Getafix?
Wim had his own intentions of going out and foraging for common goods for blade oils and potions to hoard in the event they needed them in an area not as giving.
Okay. So why don't you roll me 3 wilderness survivals, and you're going out for something specific, Yannicka, correct?
I am. Yes, she's specifically looking for mistletoe because she's been trying to make this blade oil for forever since January of this year.
Roll me 3 wilderness survivals, and the DC is 15 for this because this is
cool.
The Blue Mountains. You're very aware of this place and what it has to offer.
And she'll look for other herbs if she has time, if she finds it in a decent amount of time. 3 of them.
Oh, look at the 2 of you.
So that's my first check. Hey, look, I found mistletoe.
You literally you take 2 steps out of camp. Here it is.
Okay, that's still over 15.
Right. So we'll take the best one from each of you, which I believe were both criticals. And if I'm adding these correctly, they were both a 31 and a 32.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, that's real good.
Yeah. Okay, so Billy.
I know the herbs.
Right. If you were looking for something in particular, you could complete an ingredient set. So I know the people were looking for, the other group found swallow, but if you wanted to look for more, you of course can. Full moon was something you were looking for. Spectre oil was something you were looking for. Black venom and anything else that you in particular would like to look for. The Blue Mountains in and of themselves are a target-rich environment. If there's something you want to find, this is one of the few places on the continent where you can.
He would want to find as many things to be able to hoard Thunderbolt.
Okay. I will tell you what, you have found enough for 2 applications of such, because that was a critical success in the Blue Mountains. So I will give you enough to make 2 doses of Thunderbolt.
Cool.
And I will ask the same to Yannicka. You were able to obviously find your mistletoe. Is there something else you wanted to either stockpile or...
The family, the hydrangea element
Right.
that mistletoe is from, is harder to find. Everything's rated as a P or an R.
Right.
And that, so she'd probably get a good bit of mistletoe in case they need it. Some of the witchers need it for other decoctions, because it's a lot easier than necker claws, troll livers, werewolf saliva, and like essence of water and stuff. So a lot of mistletoe, and then I'm looking at the other things that I need. She can procure common herbs quite readily. Maybe just some of a couple of the other common things found in mountains that she needs for, like, some Virtual or something.
Make me one more. What do I want here? I want something without giving it away.
She knows what she's been herb gathering for 200 years. She's like,
oh,
this
right. Yeah,
useful.
that's
She'll grab it.
That's not what.
Also, elves have this thing, Greg. I don't know if you know in the book, but they can automatically find like herbs that they're looking for. It says so in the Wisher rulebook.
Yeah, you're gonna find the mistletoe. Okay.
Just saying.
Roll me. Let me see.
It's an elf thing.
Give me. Do you have ritual crafting?
I don't have ritual crafting, no.
Okay, what do you have in will? Like courage, hex
Courage
weaving?
and resist coercion.
Roll me a courage.
Okay. This'll go real well. Your will is not strong. Oh, actually, it went surprisingly well, I guess. Oh my god!
Oh, keep going!
34.
You find 5 applications of mistletoe.
All right.
And when you are putting them in the bag of revolution, you check back in after 15-20 minutes, and there are 6 applications of mistletoe.
Ooh.
As this stands, the bag of revolutions can now produce mistletoe once a day.
Fantastic. Maybe I'll find a use for all this mistletoe. We'll see.
I love that it's mistletoe too. I don't know.
I was looking and I was like, it would be mistletoe.
I've been watching a lot of Hallmark Christmas in summer, so maybe it's the mistletoe. I don't know.
Fantastic. Yeah.
That's not a lie. I wish it was. Okay, so yeah, you do all of this and you're able to make it back to...
Yep.
And Billy, you're able to get enough for the Thunderbolt and put it away. In fact, both of you, Yannicka, this wouldn't be a surprise to you that this place is just crazy with the amount of stuff. You're tripping over, things that people pay a ton for in Novigrad. When you dry out some of these herbs and flowers and take them into Novigrad, king's ransoms await you. But again, this is the Blue Mountains. It is a place that is protected by the elves. They have no real need for a lot of these things. And so, as nature intends, they are allowed to grow free and wild and plentiful. Whim, you would be shocked by the abundance of riches that you see here. Ainfra, what are you doing?
She's finding a quiet out-of-the-way corner and setting up a quiet ritual. It doesn't take a whole lot. And it's mildly flashy because there's one ingredient that only she can get. Well, I guess there's other ways to do it, but it's a lot harder and she doesn't trust a lot of people. She did promise Yorvith to go looking for something.
What do you need?
5th essence.
Okay. Do you need him to help you find it?
No, she can do it herself with the own ritual.
Okay.
if she can cast ritual magic, and instead of using it to increase her vigor, if she steps into it, she can use it to channel and then end the ritual early and create fifth essence.
Okay. Roll what you need to roll to make this happen, because this is magic stuff.
Wait, hold on. I need this one. Ritual crafting, and the DC is 15. Wait, hold on. Oh, I have to do math. 7. It doesn't do that well. So it's a 28.
Okay. So that part's done.
And then it's d6 divided by 2, so 3 units of fifth essence. She just kind of lays out the circle. Smirks, steps in, and it's like a drain on her even more, but she steps out and there's just little bits of it around for her to collect.
Roll an awareness. I want that scent, Matt. You just put up in chat. Rhilestilen by Calvin Klein.
23.
Okay. And well, let's make it official, right? You are unaware of anything.
She's also tired, but she did promise Yorvith that she would look to see if she can find out anything more about who killed his men.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, the only ingredient she's missing for her scry is fifth essence. So she made some more.
Okay, so you're able to bank that. As you do so, and as like the glittery bioluminescent light of your newly formed ingredients kind of coalesce and drop before you in the circle that you've created, our camera spins from that glitter to the glitter of the fireflies. And I would like both of my witchers at the Valley of Summer to roll me awareness.
Of course.
I know, I was going to do something.
Well, too bad. We're doing this now, aren't we?
All right.
It's all right. I can see enough for both of us, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, I fumbled.
Yeah, roll me your fumble just because.
Just because. Oh. Yeah, just because. Just because it's a 6.
JF, what did you want to do? Well, let's put a pin up back here on the board. Let's put a pin in those rolls for just a second. JF, what did you intend to do before I rudely interrupted with an awareness?
Yeah, I'm going to say Dusa has been kind of, watching Shilaloon, and the tension has been growing as he's been wondering what to do. And I was going to have him to try to spring this trap, have him puppet an animal and send it in there over to her.
What did
I was thinking of trying.
Okay. What will you attempt to puppet?
Well, I was going to see what was going to be around.
Let's do this.
I think a bird might probably be the best option, but
a bird would definitely be the best option, and that's why it's going to be the highest DC. So let's do a cast this as you normally would. You have to roll your Witcher training, correct, or your spell casting for puppet?
Spellcasting.
Yeah. So roll your spell casting, and what the highest DC will be a bird. The next lowest grouping will be a deer. The one below that will be a rabbit. The one below that will be something else.
Okay, cool.
I'm not telling you what the groups are. I have them in my head, but we'll...
That's fair.
Yeah.
Let's go
He's
ahead.
just been standing there chewing his lip, and finally he decides to do something. And as he does, he makes a sign, calling forth power of water. And that's a 24 on the spell casting.
Okay. So as you cast and kind of search around for something to puppet,
Right, he's looking for something.
you catch a not a bestial, but a natural soul, a natural spirit. And as it comes out of the woods, you see a magnificent stag with horns that are aplenty across, multi-pointed, strong, tall, way healthier, larger, and perhaps older, not decrepit, but mature and strong than anything that probably would be allowed to exist in the Northern Kingdoms. It would be taken
I guess that's the only thing around.
That's what you got.
As he,
The best we're gonna get here.
As he looks at it admiringly, and there's a moment of regret as he sends his magic towards it, causing it to, well, let's see if it works, but attempting to control that stag's mind.
It doesn't fight you. It seems that it's not in the being asked to do anything that it wouldn't probably do itself, and it kind of skirts over on the left-hand side until it reaches the elevation, like the slow slide.
Before he sends it off, suspecting that it's probably, there's a good chance it won't survive this, he will pet it, just caress it on the head and let it go.
It allows it. It doesn't shy away from your touch. It matches your gaze. There's a strength there. Not necessarily like a regal quality to it, but something akin.
Just touch his forehead to his forehead, with his head, and just shut his eyes and then release it.
It allows it. Yeah, you feel the light
Control
hair.
it. Take control, actually.
Yeah.
At that point, as he puts his forehead against it.
And for a moment when you puppet, as you pull your forehead away, you actually see yourself for a briefest of blinks as you kind of take control and look through the stag's eyes for a moment, and you can see Deuce of the Night pulling away until you blink again and you see the stag in front of you. You are of like mind.
And holding on to that magic, he trudges forward, leaps forward towards Shilaloon, makes his way towards her.
So the stag creeps to the left and reaches that kind of slope in the elevation from your position down into the Valley of Summer. And as it begins to move,
Kind of controlling it like this, yep.
yeah, you can, it's walking, its gait does not look unnatural. Even though you're controlling its movements, it's not robotic. It's not, it still projects that natural grace. And it walks in, its head still proud as it looks as the walls begin to creep up on either side of it. You, even in almost like you're smelling it yourself, Dusa, you can smell a twinge of fear as it becomes aware of the Banshee's presence. It's about 50 feet from the Banshee, and it's just coming to the left of your position. Even though you're elevated, it has gone wide to the left, dropped down into the valley, but now is coming to when it's just beneath you. And soon it'll pass your position, and within another 20 feet beyond that, be potentially shoulder to shoulder with Shilaloon. Yeah.
Right, and as it approaches, he would try to send it to the places where, if there are such places, where someone or something might be hiding, anything that might be, a minion of hers. If there's any place that seems like cover or anything like that, he'll send it around those places.
It's pretty wide open, yeah. It's it's pretty wide open, but there is like kind of vinage and stuff that creeps down along the walls. And again, it's a very rectangular trench that's sort of like fashioned in the earth like this. So it's the walls are flat and uniform. But they do have vinage and vegetation, and if you want like the stag to do something to the walls, it could, you have the manipulation of the antlers is one thing that could be done. If you want to get closer, you have total control here.
He's just having it test the terrain before it goes up to her, just to make sure that there are no traps or people lying around or things. Yeah.
Okay, and as this stag drops down into the Valley of Summer, we go back to our earlier roles. And as Dusa is concentrating fully on puppeting or being the puppeteer of the stag, is unaware of anything else that's happening beyond his own frame. He's sensorially linked with the stag. We go to Harold. As you're looking around, you start to catch a song. It's a whispered musicality. You can't make out the words, but you can hear on the crispness of the, at least your level, someone is singing, and it seems to be coming from the valley.
But I don't see them.
It's bouncing off of the canyon walls. It's almost like somebody's humming. You think that it's more, you think that there's actual articulation to the words, but it's just beyond your ability to kind of put the words together. You're catching a bit of bounce, a bit of echo, but you don't see anything in the canyon except for the stag and the banshee.
And I don't see the banshee's mouth moving at all.
The banshee's back is to you. Has been since you all arrived, just looking at the fireflies.
Can I tell anything about the tone of the voice?
Yeah, roll me a human perception.
Ah, yes. Human perception.
Right, that one.
A fine thing, that is. 15.
At first, you think it's sadness. There is a kind of a dirge-like quality to the music, the humming, the musicality. There's a like a monastic type of repetition. But then it gets more pointed. And while you heard sorrow at first, now you hear a promise of pain. Dusa, at that moment, the stag goes over to the wall under your command to just check things, to see, and it takes its antlers and brushes them against some of the vinage that's on the walls, kind of pulling them out, not attacking, not, making like too much noise, just a scrape. And as it does so, the vines in and of themselves, they're not wholly in this Valley of Summer, and so portions of them are exposed to the cold in the air above, and they break away, and the sides of the valley are revealed a bit. And I would ask again for an awareness roll as the song begins to climb.
Out of here.
27.
24.
Both of you notice, Harold, your ears are still tuned to this growing song. Dusa, your eyes are a portion of your own sight, and that you can see through the stag's eyes. And as you turn and look at the walls, just as the stag pulls away, a large section of the vines pulls and kind of peels a layer of moss away from the walls as well. And you see stacked graves cut into the walls. And just as you look, you feel pain, exquisite and beautiful, enter your forehead. You snap your eyes and you are aware. Roll me an endurance check. As
36. Is it critical? 28.
You keep your feet or your crouch. You don't yell out or anything. But both of you bear witness as the stag begins to convulse. And as the song grows in intensity, you see that a skeletal hand holding a blade pulls out from where it had punched through the rock in the wall, and the stag flexes and convulses, and as the blade is drawn out of its forehead, it crumples to the ground. And as it does so, you see 5, 10, 15 graves on both sides of the Valley of Summer erupt. And as the Banshee, the elf known as Sheila Loon, continues to sing, she slowly turns, her arms lift up as if acting as a conductor for an orchestra. The fireflies spin around her, and when she turns, you see that her eyes are made out of a dozen fireflies each. And as she looks, and as her army of dead fill the Valley of Summer, we end our tale for the night.
Nope.
Oh!
Nope.
Oh
You
my
had to
God.
stay a little bit longer. We had enough. We knew it was a trap.
I had an idea.
I had an idea!
And look where that got us.
I love it. Fantastic. Lindy, over to you, my friend.
Well, I'm not gonna call him Idiusa anytime soon. It's just not. What? How dare you, Greg? Leaving us right here. I didn't even get to craft anything. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're gonna be fine. They're not gonna lead an army of the dead back to our camp. Why would they do that? Let's go around and let's say who we are and where we can find you, and just your favorite moment from tonight's game, or moments. You can have more than one is possible, but I'd like you to keep it under 12. Ainfra, how was that for you?
That was lots of fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoy playing with all of you every week. It is the highlight of my week, and I love all of you so much. I have to say, to be honest, I think my favorite part was Ainfra chewing out Yorvith and being like, no, my bestie, you do not get to fuck with my bestie here. She gets to make that decision herself. But hey, all, you know me. I'm at Dear Gentleman on Twitter, or Praxworth Esmiophoria, as you see me around on Twitch. And tomorrow, you can find me over on Wandering DM for more of the Thirsty Crew, because I'm apparently playing a sad girl elf, and that's a thing that I've never done before. And choices were made last week, which might have consequences. And then on Friday, over on Wandering DM for some Cyberpunk Red, because if you like The Witcher, you'll love the Cyberpunk. It's also by Talsorian, and lots of possibly fighting drama is going to happen there. And Saturday, I get to hang out with my friend Lindy and prove that there are consequences on pirate games.
There's no consequences to actions in pirate games.
You know, somebody wants to release a demon. Let's see what happens.
Okay, maybe that may be one consequence.
But other than that, check my Twitter, because I post where I'm going to be, all the fun people I get to hang out with, all of the fun stories I get to write. And I'll see you all next time.
Wonderful. We call him One Consequence Billy. How are you doing tonight?
Who calls me that?
I did just now.
Oh, cool.
I don't think Billy's a consequence.
No,
no,
but if you mess with him, there will be consequences.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That nice little, that sound where the skin meets the skin. You can find me on the internet at Bill of the Forest. I had a great time. My favorite moment was, I really like delving more into getting Ainfra pissed. I feel really connected to it because she's always pissed, but there are always different degrees of pissed. And Billy wants to be there for her and be her friend and understand her. I don't think the world does. So I feel like drawing that bridge somewhere is really, really important. Because, there's a lot of folks out there who are, driving hard down a really bad, an angle full of consequences that maybe they don't know a whole bunch about. But there's more to life, and I'm really excited. And hopefully, there's something in this universe that can show Ainfra that there might be a little more. There might be a little more to life, friendo. Find me on the internets at Bill of the Forest. Follow all these beautiful people. They do a lot of awesome shit. That's it. I miss my brother Eris, but I would be an Eris hole if I didn't mention him. That's it. Moving on. I'll try to set you up with because I am in the hunt for some puns.
Oh.
And the hunt is important.
The hunt is important. I'm guessing you're trying to set me up for Dusa, maybe, but we're gonna go over to Matt, who is hunting for a way out of that valley. Right
We're not in the valley. We just need to get the fuck away from it. So, favorite moments of the night. One was JF coming to me in private and going, "Hey, I've got an idea." I'm like, "Really?" All right then. Let's go. Somebody's gonna have to press the button, and I'm glad it's not me this time. That's great. Other favorite moment that was on screen. Actually, Dusa not being here for the singles cruise was really nice. There's some solidarity there. I appreciated it. It was great. No, low key, lot of really good stuff tonight, and I'm really, really happy we're here to see it and experience it, and see what terrible consequences we get to reap of all of this next time. So, as for me, I'm Matt, also known as the Killer GM on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at the Killer GM. I write about games, nerdery, talk with people about various stuff. Just the usual. When I'm not here playing with these wonderful people who you should be following, catching up on their shows and whatnot, I also run my own game of Masks every other Sunday on Matev 7, and it is going to be a fresh issue of Sunset City this Sunday called Planet Earth is Opal Blue, and there's nothing I can do. The Mythfits have set themselves up for some things happening. Consequences are going to be happening there as well, as a matter of fact, along with a special guest star, and you'll find out who that is if you tune in Sunday on the channel Matev 7. So yeah, that's me for this week. Otherwise,
fantastic. Consequences. Dusa. Jaya.
I don't know what to say. You go scouting. You got to find out something. We knew she was there. We knew.
Yeah, it was more like terrain. Like, how can we plan to come in on this thing? I guess now we know that there's hordes of undead.
Right. Who would have thought? And it's a good thing to know. And if we don't make it back, somebody might make it back and let you back. That's the idea. I'm sorry, Matt. But I did enjoy tonight. Someone trying to pick up Dusa at the worst possible moments. He's going to kill his best friend's undead girlfriend. So, I don't know. It wasn't a good time for him, I think. It's
You said that
maybe next
Kendra,
time. Maybe
here,
next
you are
time.
brave, good
'Cause,
sir. You
you
are
know-
brave.
Best friend's undead side chick?
Right. Yeah, maybe next time. There'll be I hope there'll be a next time.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Looking forward. JF at Double Crits on Twitter. Thank you. Passing it off to Greg.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
My money's on to reveal to make it back. So, Greg.
I got my money on Skim.
We're
I
taking
got my money on
bets.
Skim.
We're taking bets.
Yeah,
3-1 on Pat.
on Pat. Pat, to me, Pat is like from Deadpool 2. What was the name of the guy that jumped with them, had no powers whatsoever?
Captain Sugar Bear.
Yeah. That's my
His actual
favorite.
name is, but-
That's my favorite. Yeah, I have an absolute blast playing with everybody here. This was great. I enjoyed a lot of the interpersonal stuff that was going on. I really loved having Harold and Dusa doing some Witcher shit that we really kind of haven't seen yet. Going out, checking on an area, using the puppet, the augmented sign, which is really a dope thing. And there's a lot to be said too for this is part of the Artel Saurian Games Witcher system, is that you can have cool shit. You can get potions and stuff, but I love the idea that you got to work for it a bit. You'll never find this stuff sold in a store. You might find the ingredients, but you got to, it adds an element of realism that I think is only really reflected in a few systems. And I like that quite a bit. Having to travel to scout and learn, there was a lot of just nuts and bolts parts in this session that really, as a GM and a player, I loved, because I think it showed the system off a little bit, and it's in my opinion, a really, really solid system. Anyway, I can't wait to be back here next week. My favorite, I have too many favorite things. The art for this one would be Dusa and Harold, like fingertips down, looking over the edge of this ravine as the creatures come out of the crypts that are carved into the sides, and realizing shit. And just that, anytime a Witcher thinks shit is a time that you need art for. Greg, I'm not on social media at all, but you can, tomorrow I think I'm playing a dragon over on Black Cats Gaming, so I'm going to be putting back on the wig of my favorite Targaryen. I hope that's not a spoiler, but if it is, who cares? So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. I love everybody.
Fantastic. My favorite moments from tonight was, oh god, there's a large bug on my wall. Not that. But some of my favorite parts were Ainfra and Yorva's conversation. I was terribly amused. The fact that Wim has now instilled like a seed of fear into Yannicka, that maybe magic does weird things to your bowels. And
It makes sense.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. And just generic, just the also failed Sedusa moment, because I like Sedusa's been trying to have the most game like this whole time, and then finally when someone's like, "Hey, I'm a flirt with you," he's like, I love it. It was great. It's been waiting the whole campaign, and then that was the moment. And just like, no,
Man.
He actually harumphed.
He's
There was a
wrong.
harumph.
there was a harumph.
He's upset.
It was great. Maybe if you guys survive this, you can just have some like woohoo, we made it celebrations. But anyways, I'm Lindy. You can find me here on my channel. I'm not making eye contact because I gotta keep an eye on this bug. You can find me here every Monday and Tuesday for typically D&D, though we should have our Dread finale hopefully this coming Monday. Wednesdays for Witcher, and Fridays for Aether's Walkway. If you missed this past Saturday's episode of Aliens, you should check it out. Greg was in it. It was super cool. We're all in a lot of trouble. And just follow me on Twitter or whatever for when I'm on other shows doing other things, because I do that a lot too. And thanks to our sponsors, Roll20, our virtual tabletop of choice. They're awesome. Check them out, roll20.net. They've got lots of cool stuff. It's moving. So I'll throw it over to you, Greg. Thanks again for watching, guys. Have fun, play games. I'm going to get the fly swat.
Night, everybody.